Meeting of the Upper Lake Unified School District is called to order. We have a quorum, 5 out of 5. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all please stand? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of agenda.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Approval? No, wait a minute. Public input. Anybody have public input tonight? Anybody want to speak? No? Approval of minutes.
I'll move. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Action and discussion of approval of memorandum of understanding relating to interim responsibility for district superintendent.
I'll move to accept.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that?
Yes. As I read the memorandum of understanding, it seemed like it was, it's just really brief. And I wondered, I guess I was expecting a little more in the form of like specific tasks that might be performed or what the expectations were for the 6 months. And so I guess I'm wondering how that type of stuff will be built into this position.
I think we have some experts in the audience here. Talk about that.
Oh, you had it, because I was going to say I was. No, you go back.
The reason we kept it really broad is because when you list the number of tasks, it would end up being a number of pages. We pretty much understand what's in front of us in terms of the task of moving into a district. Really, most of them are outlined in the focus group areas in terms of business services. So the task becomes mine to oversee with insight of both business managers in order to make that happen and to work through the county office to do that. Same thing with staffing. As we move forward with staffing issues, really working with Valerie in her district and my current district to really put that together in terms of what that looks like as a unified district. Either moving people, for example, or filling positions that are vacated because of retirements or resignations. Some of that hasn't completely unfolded yet. So I think under the focus group areas, and they're outlined somewhat with Wally's group, these are all the areas that we originally started through the process of the joint meetings, started to develop and look at those areas. So now it's whatever your decision is tonight moving forward, is taking that individual to oversee those and continually update for during your meeting dates on where we are in each of those areas. I don't know if that clarifies it for you. It was just easier to leave it extremely broad.
Right.
Because
I looked at it, there's nothing here other than it says you will devote some time and some services. That's not much of a, clarifying thing, but.
And the reality is it's going to be a lot of time.
No, I know. And no, it just is. And it wasn't about time. It
No,
was
I know.
mainly, about what is it we're asking you to do? And I felt like I wouldn't even see it there. And I don't know if we can, just be
I think it would be.
it's not the right place for it.
I think one of the things you could do is look at our job description.
Can I just address that? Because
you
Pat and I
know,
had a lot of discussions about this, so I hope I'm not, please, but
You're always-
Pat and I started working on stuff right at the very beginning of the year. So there's a lot of things already in place. And so when we were talking about it, knowing that you had also contracted with Wally, we kind of came together and said, so where would we, what is it that we're still going? We're already well on our way to finishing. Things like the LCAP, things that we've already been to a training at the county office. We've got a plan for how we're bringing in county office people. So we kind of know the direction we're going. When it comes to staffing, like admin staffing or whatever, it all comes directly to you. And I'm assuming that then you're also going to be talking to Wally, because I know that, you wanted some other information about different scenarios. So we thought what we would be doing is bringing to you our suggestions, and then, but then you would also have, the consulting group to kind of give you a bigger picture too. And also we can use them that way. So it's so detailed what we've already done that I don't know how you could put that in the document. I think that the board, if we do a board workshop, it would be really good to give you, here's where we are on everything. And then be able to have the consulting group be able to say, okay, here's maybe where we can fit in. And because like that
which is
said.
our intent on October 30th.
Yeah.
October 30th
I
is Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, to outline where we've been and what we still need to do. And I just caution the board. A lot of this is new, not necessarily to us, but what it's new to is the state under the whole LCFF guidelines. When you call individuals at the state level, not putting any blame on them, and people that have done unifications for years say, we'll get back to you because under LCFF, some of the rules have changed, and so the impact is something that I don't think a lot of people are going to have answers to tomorrow or even at the end of the year or going into another fiscal year. I think it's a work in progress. It's things that are going to change over time as we deal with this thing called unification now and being a whole new district. So it was very difficult, like Valerie said, to try to put into a document. And you need to understand, the document is basically done by your legal services. It's not done by Valerie, it's not done by me, it's not done by Rob. Legal services put the document together, and they're a group of attorneys that are going to leave things rather ambiguous and broad. Because you might have a specific direction or something that you also want to see, and it may not be in the document, so what does that mean? You have to go back and do another MOU to put it in there? So they just leave it wide.
But it's also really tough to say, okay, one group would do this part, we would, Pat would do this part, because it intermingles so much. And knowing that you guys have the final say on everything, that helped a lot too, because we know whatever Pat brings, you're going to improve it or not. So.
Yeah, I guess I was just looking for more. I know that you aren't going to do all the tasks, but you're going to oversee them. You're going to see to it that they get done, right?
Correct.
And I asked in our meeting about your, achievements with the high school, and that was answered. To know.
And what Claudia is referring to is, what does that mean in the high school district? I don't leave them high and dry. I met with my administrative group, my management group, even with Nina. And so, obviously this is a work in progress, and they may have to take on some additional tasks. It doesn't mean you just throw it to them and say, best of luck, and, we're going to work through those things as we begin to dissolve our current district over the next 5 months and outline what that means to the future.
As far as I understand the memorandum, it's really, God bless you, but it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the understanding between this board and the high school board that their employees need to be used in the role of superintendent. So while the tasks aren't outlined, it's more of the understanding is that the high school board is choosing to allow you to do that for the benefit of unification. But it's more of serving the role as superintendent, which allows those processes to get, outlined, working with accountability. That's so while there is a scope of work contained within the role of superintendent, to Val's point, it can't be itemized item by item because it might be something that gets left out. Then we expose ourselves to something that can't get done because it wasn't outlined in the scope of work. Being going into this uncharted territory, it's better to have the role more so than the past.
And that's what will transpire over the next 5 months, is really some of these tasks will come to understanding that, you need to do this as well, you need to do this, just making sure that some of those unknowns as we move forward.
Wally?
Good evening. My name is Wally Holbrook, Education and Leadership Solutions. And I just wanted to tell you that I had a chance to review this. And this provides, from my perspective, the most flexibility to the board and also to your superintendent. And it's already been said, but there's a lot of things that will come into place in the next couple of months. So what this allows you to do is to adjust to those. And I think if you look at item 6, it talks about amendments. So with mutual agreement, you can amend this memorandum of understanding, which is a lot more flexible than a contract. And I think that's the thing that is most important, is to provide that flexibility within the structure, but yet still make sure that there's some clear expectations. And so as we go through this, I think this is going to be a really good guide for that. And really what it does is it sets up that understanding that Pat's really going to serve 2 roles during this time. So, and I think when the workshop is over, then I think there'll be a clearer picture of that. And even later on, there may be some other adjustments that you may want to consider, and frankly, Pat may want to do as well. So,
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of resolution authorization to sign on behalf of the governing board. Oh, before we do that, I'd like to invite Pat to come up here and you can stand and sit next to me.
That's the first time I'll be missed.
Or do I feel much more comfortable?
So on the approval of the resolution, do I have a motion?
Make motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussion on that?
There was some discussion a little bit about this. And again, this is a little bit new territory for us, and I have a couple business people out there, another superintendent, and retired superintendent. Should we need, there are some times we need more than one signature on something. So we didn't, outside of myself, we didn't know how to move forward in this area. When I looked at today the number of signatures for different things that we have, and sometimes it's Sandy, Dawn, Tina, Sue, that are all listed. And I'm sure in your district, Valerie, it's you, Becky, Diane, there might be a couple of other people. So I didn't know which was the best way to approach this one, and maybe add 1 or 2 more people to this, just in case I'm somewhere and they need 2 signatures, and I'm not there to sign something. So I wasn't sure on that.
Always that was extremely important. I realize that every decision was financial, and if that's our user. So whether it's a decision that we make personnel-wise or anything, I would like, and for me, it would be nice if it was signatures from both of the districts, because that way we've got just transparency.
So would it be best, Valerie, to put you and also Becky and Sue?
I think that's a great idea.
You know, that way, I think we're pretty much covered in terms of, you know, there's no way all four of us aren't going to be here. So you have at least that leverage where you need something immediately and you need two signatures.
Would just be the goal being trying to get one for each district every time we sign.
Is it a full signature, or is there like a minimum level at which maybe two signatures and a smaller, and one signature, you know, to get things done, or I don't know if that's
There's
helpful.
some cases where it'll just be a signature.
Right, single.
Most of the time, from how I understood this in conversations, a little bit that I've had with Rob, is, you know, some of them will be basically my signature for the most part, but there might be something else that requires two signatures, so it might be mine, I've got to go track down somebody, well, I need people on this document, so, you know, I can get those signatures. Sue?
The form I believe that is being used is a different form than the form we typically use, that you guys typically use, because really if you're going to put Becky and I on there, there's certain things we can't sign on because of the conflict of interest, the audit, whatnot. There's certain things we can't sign. I'm pretty sure we have a list of the things that we can sign, the things that we can't sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe at the next meeting, we'll just bring that form and fill out the way that we've been doing it in the two districts for you guys to review.
Part of the problem is you're not allowed to sign certain documents. So those documents
Right.
can be a dual signature, probably. You know, until when July 1st happens, we probably review some of these for those additional abilities to sign things on behalf of us.
This was something we covered at the first meeting. It was brought up by business services at the county level. Just wrapping my head around the fact that you're the signature on this document, which has to do with unified district, because you are technically now, through the MOU, an employee of the district. So if Val gets on there, is she technically an employee of the unified district in the role that she's serving now? Is there?
Not. So, but you are the only, you have to have a sign.
So the county pointed out that we needed to assign or you know, we could do that, that Sue and Becky could become signatories for us. And so maybe you don't need to be, you know, an employee or on the payroll, because that was something that they had offered.
With authority, that's grant authority.
I mean, I'm prepared to sign this document this evening for you,
Yeah.
and then, you know, definitely we need to see what else can come to the next meeting, you know, with Becky and Sue.
Is there anything you have to sign with two signatures before the next meeting?
Not that I'm aware of, but again,
Normally it's only checks really that have two signatures.
Well, they always are going to have to check the account.
Right, they don't have a checking account at this point, correct? So right now it's going to be the two separate districts cutting those checks. Anyways.
So we could just pass this tonight and then
Right, and then find for additional signatures,
later.
discuss it the next 2 weeks and determine who could potentially be on that.
yeah, we can bring the list of
That would be.
all the things that, you know, need signatures, and that will give you
Yes, yes, June, before the summer. Correct. So, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Right?
Aye? No? Find the agenda. Oh, about the review board workshop agenda, discussion item, review board workshop agenda. We did this at the last meeting somewhat. Were there a lot of changes, Wally?
No, there's very few changes. There were a few alterations, especially on time. And if you look at the agenda, you'll notice that there's probably about 3 days worth of work in this agenda. We try to cram it into 4 hours. So, but the very highest priority is the very first thing on that, and that's the established roles and responsibility of the board. And that's really going to be the key part of this. We'll do our best to hold to this agenda. But as you look through this, I think it's important to realize that we're probably not going to get all the way through all these items. But if there's something that either you don't see on this agenda or that you would like to suggest to us to include in this, then we'd be happy to do that, as long as we have between now and Saturday to make plans for that. But I think this should serve as a rough guide for the day. And once you do, if you're comfortable with this, then I've got a couple other things that Richard and I can add to kind of help you prepare for Saturday morning.
Anybody have anything they would like to add to the agenda or subtract? Okay, Wally, what else? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure if you want to know, but this is Dr. Richard Smith, and my partner in our consulting group, and has a very different background than I do and provides great balance. And I think some of you have worked with Richard before. I think we did a workshop at the elementary school. So, Richard, you want to?
Well, I'm just saying, well, I'm certainly glad that we were able to help you. I think this is an exciting opportunity for you to improve the schools and what's been offered to children. So I'm very happy with you all.
So one of the minor changes that was made on the suggested agenda for Saturday was to include what's already been done. And this was really a suggestion from that, and making sure that we don't just start all over, that we really take a look at all the work that's been done up to this point and make sure that we incorporate that in and take full advantage of that. The other thing I think is important for the board is the primary purpose of this workshop is not to get all the work done, but to set up a process to do work, and also the opportunity for the board to gel as a team. And that's really the critical first step on this. So what I would suggest is a little bit of homework when thinking, and I'm sure some of you have already done this, but the Brown Act book that was passed out to you when you were sworn in, if you could bring this with you, and if you could also review this before Saturday. This is a wealth of information, and I'm sure that we will all refer to this as we go through. So this really helps you set the tone on that. The second one, and Richard, if you would mind, if you want to go to this is the standards for CSBA publishes this, and it's a standards for board members. And there are 5 or 6 things that are real clear, real concise about board member responsibilities and superintendent responsibilities. And they're just some real quick guides that I think that we'll use to work on Saturday and setting the tone for how you want to do things. Not exactly what you do, but how you go about doing that. So that'll be something that I'm hoping that you'll take a look at. The third one is something that Richard and I put together, and this is a very simple form, but it's a board member 4-way test. And the 4-way test is just 4 simple things that if you keep in your mind when you make decisions, when you solve problems, and to me it's kind of boiled down to 4 basic things. So you can take a look at that and that's something else that we'll look at. The second one, which the board approved at their first meeting, was the board bylaws. And this is not an easy read. It's over 100 pages. And I wouldn't expect you to be well versed in this whole thing. But if you really look at the first 8 pages, that really tells you, that kind of sets the tone for you about board responsibilities. And I think we'll use this document as well. I'm not sure that you each have this document, but if this is something that could be produced for the board so they can bring this to the workshop. I know it's a lot of copy, but if there's a way that you either can have access online or if you have a copy of this and bring this with you on Saturday, I think it would be really helpful.
We really, let's make sure we, communication with plugging, you need a copy of those? I have a copy, but I don't know if I still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's in the blue, I got it.
Okay, good. So, last thing is between now and Saturday, we'll work with Pat to make sure that we know where we're going to be. I believe it starts at 10 o'clock. It's planned to be over at 2. We'll try to hold to that timeline as best we can. May get a little bit pushy at times, and I apologize ahead of time for that, but to keep you on track with that. If we're there and we're not producing, then it's not a good use of your time. And it's also not a good use of us helping you. So that's one of the things that we'll work on. And I think that we had talked before that some of those things that have already been done, that there'll be an opportunity to share those. And you provided that to me, so there's a really good background there that will help if you have a chance to take a look at that.
Open to the public.
It is open to the public, and the public is more than welcome, but the participation is really the board and those that the board has determined that should participate. And it's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's the 2 superintendents and the 2 CEOs along with the 5 board members. Is that correct? So there's some participation. There's also the opportunity to observe that. But those that come to observe won't necessarily participate. It's a board workshop. It's intended primarily for the board. There'll be no formal action taken. There'll be lots of discussion. There'll be some strategies for how you make decisions. But you may not make any formal decisions on that particular day. Do you have any questions? Okay.
I just wanted to throw something in here. You said Pat's the only employee, about Dina. She's sort of working for the new district. We probably have to straighten that out.
I have her on culture or something like that.
You might want to appoint her.
Not a penalty of discipline.
Well, just comment on that's the type of question that hopefully we can deal with in the workshop, so we can develop some plans for how to address those types of things. Because I think they're going to come up, and we're not necessarily going to have an immediate answer for those, but I think there's a way to resolve those, especially if we all try to put together. That's the next steps.
Okay, thank you. Pat, in your 6.5 minutes as superintendent, you put together a report.
I did have, just wanted to thank Valerie. I had an opportunity to tour the elementary school, get through all the classrooms. Not as scary as I thought. Those little guys, I commend the teaching staff over there. I did get an idea in my head that I think every high school teacher needs to spend a day watching that process. That's a whole other ballgame. But it was a lot of fun. Kids had questions, and really look forward to working with the staff. My next step is to visit the middle school, do the same thing. Valerie and I, Sue and I, Becky and I, Dean and I, we'll be having a number of meetings over the course of the next couple of weeks to, look at and see the bigger picture. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself. Look forward to the middle school. We'll spend some more time. I'll probably have maybe some grade level meetings just to get to know people and get a better sense of the elementary district. So I really enjoyed myself.
Any board member reports?
I
Elementary a week ago Friday. I was very impressed with the confidence that so many of these students exuded. It was just amazing to me that they were able to get up and share with, of course, their peers. And then that evening, the awards evening, was very impressive as well. So I think that was a great beginning to develop confidence to speak out. And the other comment I wanted to make is Friday's assembly, I attended Rachel's challenge. And it was quite moving, and I'd like to follow up to see how the aftercare would be provided for him. It was about the Columbine massacre and one young woman that was really spotlighted for her abilities, her kindness, and her dreams, and how these dreams were shared prior to the massacre. So it was very good.
Well, just to follow up on that really quick, I think anytime anybody can say something about that, you should say it. So I was in an in-service Friday through the college, and I was very surprised at some of the tactics you use with a violent person on campus. And just briefly, what I learned was, somebody walked in right now with a gun, I basically throw my chair at him and run at him. You do not tell people to lie down and be passive. That has not worked. Never has worked. They were telling people to do that at Columbine. That was horrible. It was a horrible. And then the other thing I really was surprised by is don't let anybody use their cell phone to call their family or their friends, because then you plug up the traffic so that the police and so forth can't get here. And the average time over all these events has been 5.5 minutes or so that it takes the police to get here. So the more you don't call other people, the more they can get in here. And those three things I've never heard before, and I think everybody should know that. So anyway, that's my report. Any other? So before we go to closed session, I would like the whole board to maybe just stay right where you are. We have to sign a lot of things right now. And last time we didn't do well at that. I didn't anyway. So maybe should we just pass them down here? Okay, we are reconvened to open session. We had 3 actions from closed session. We would like to have meetings and put together an MOU so that DNET can be our support staff in our new unified district. That's number 1. We also would like to have discussions entered into and some meetings between now and the next, so we can put together a contract for Pat Iacino for July 1st of this year through next year, June 30th, as superintendent of the new district. And lastly, we love both Becky and Sue. We think they're both great, but we think we have to name a CBO. So we would like to enter into discussions with Becky Jeffries to possibly become the CBO of the new unified district. Those are our 3 actions coming up. Future business, a board workshop this Saturday at 10 a.m. for the Upperlake Unified School District of Education will be held on Saturday, January 30th, 10 a.m. In this room?
Yes.
Let's see.
It'll be here.
It said student library somewhere. Is it student library?
Student center.
And is there, I didn't say pizza here at all, but I know Trigger Cove will go $5 a pizza for anything at the school, right? So I don't know who would arrange that. And the next regular meeting of our board will be February 9th at 5 p.m. in this room again. And that's all we have here. So is there anybody who wants to say anything about adjournment?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.